And for more on what to expect from the G7 meeting, let's go to Dr Seijiro Takeshita. He's a professor of management and information at the University of Shizuoka. Dr Seijiro, thank you very much for your time today. There's a lot of symbolism around this particular visit. It's a first-time visit for foreign ministers with nuclear weapons to Hiroshima. What is the significance around this meeting and for the Japanese people, do you think?
Well, in the short run, it does provide a lot of positivity, considering that we're getting quite a lot of aggression from China and also from Russia and their expansion scheme. So to show that we have a very strong ties with the Americans do give a kind of a barrier, a continued barrier and safety net. Now, from a human emotional point of view, the Japanese public point of view, this is a very, very big issue because, as you reported, it's the first time in decades, first time after World War II, that these officials are visiting Hiroshima. And, these deep and rooted pain is still very much embedded amongst the Japanese. And it does give one of the first few steps to really close the gap that is between the two countries in understanding of this matter.
Yeah, and I mean, there's not just significance, I suppose, for the visit for the foreign ministers, but there's particular significance of Secretary of State John Kerry's visit and obviously the hope that President Obama will visit too. What will this mean for America's relationship with Japan?
Very strong, because let's face it, the recognition of World War II is totally different from Japan and the United States. And unfortunately, a lot of Japanese, for example, leftist parties have been using these Hiroshima to really touch on the nerves of many sensitive Japanese. And unfortunately, this has been used as a political tool in many of the cases. Now, to wash these things away, I think it's very important to clarify these issues by bringing these people and basically having them visit the peace memorial, for example, which I think would be a very important step for at least total mutual understanding. Although we have a parallel understanding of this issue, at least to come closer to each other in many of these unfortunate instances.
Yeah, and I mean, for Japan, the only country to have been attacked by nuclear weapons, a country that later embraced nuclear energy and then suffered from a nuclear disaster of its own after the Fukushima earthquake. What does Hiroshima mean, do you think?
Yeah, as you say, it's quite ironic that we are currently trying to restart and increase the level of nuclear. And unfortunately, we have to because we're an industrial nation. But it does mean a lot because, I mean, if you visit the peace memorial, the fact of the matter is it shows not about the country that you and I have just been talking about. It's not about Japan. It's not about the United States. It's not about Turkey. It's not about Russia. But it's about the human stupidity and arrogance of what we can do to each other. So going back to basics, it really is very important for these officials to actually visit and try to, again, lessen the gap that persists in many of these countries on the basic understanding of these issues.
Yeah, and I suppose healing the past is one way to try and do that. Okay, thank you very much. We'll just leave it there. That's Dr Seijiro from the University of Shizuoka.